What's good, people? We are the Blasian Circle, 3 married couples made up of 6 friends who share in the experience of being in Black and South Asian interracial marriages.
It's a circle of unity and trust where we share our thoughts and lived experiences. Come join our circle.
Oh, you're hosting, aren't you?
I am indeed. Hello. Welcome to the Blasian Circle podcast. We are here again with our beloved audience.
Yes.
Which is you guys at home or on your screens, on your phones, wherever you're looking, wherever you're listening on, the streaming platforms. Today is quite a nice and interesting one. Wait, firstly, how's everyone? Everyone cool?
Yeah, bless, man.
Yeah?
Good. It's
Yeah?
good to be amongst the family again.
Trust me,
always.
family.
Mm.
So today's going to be a really nice one. It's probably going to be a bit more interactive for our our streaming audience or just audible listeners. But today we are going through the relationship of Anna and
DJ.
It's under the spotlight, guys.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, we can't put the spotlight on you.
I mean, the
No.
spotlight's actually on us.
Quite
The
literally.
Throw some
conversation
shade this
spotlight
way.
is on you.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, give us a little 1-2 with your
Yes.
voices
Yeah.
and stuff, so
Yeah,
people
let's-
can.
1-2.
Our YouTube listeners can
Yeah.
feel your energy.
Are you there? Are you ready to
We're
share?
here.
We're
Yeah.
here.
Divulge.
Full effect.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
man.
are.
Good.
Excellent.
go.
Exciting times.
Absolutely.
So you ready to just get
If only you could see Anna's face.
exactly?
Oh, totally ready.
Yeah.
So you guys ready to get straight into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do
go.
it.
Let's
Let's
go.
not
No.
waste any time at all. So, how did this beautiful couple that became Anna and DJ come to meet?
Yeah.
Spill the beans.
I feel like I
guys.
always start
Do you want me
this.
to start then? Okay.
Ladies first.
So,
I'll chime in.
Do you have different events, like different
versions.
of events?
No, so if you were to ask me what my first impression was of him,
Okay.
Yeah.
I would probably have something different to say. But
Okay.
in terms of how we met,
Yeah.
it's a very rock and roll story,
Oh.
right? So I just want to prepare
Buckle
you
up.
guys. Yeah, we don't want to offend anyone here. We met at a Bible study. On a weekday evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one of our friends Ryan's house.
Big up Ryan.
Well done, Ryan, for hosting.
Well done,
Yeah.
Ryan.
May God
Ryan.
bless you.
That's where the love is filled.
That's where it is.
That's where the anointing is.
Ryan.
Ryan's house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So DJ actually attended it before I did, as in
Yeah.
he was already a member of that. I came quite late in the day, and then but the first few times I went, he wasn't there.
Okay.
So that's where I built the first impression of him,
Okay.
because even though he wasn't physically there, I was hearing the way people talking about him and everything
okay.
else.
Okay.
So your reputation proceeded.
Absolutely, yeah.
What were they saying about him?
Yeah.
So they were saying, I mean, to be honest, it's not necessarily what they were saying,
Yeah.
but there was like every time he didn't, because as I said, the first few times he wasn't able to make it, there was a sense of disappointment. And there was a real,
He was the
because
star of the
he
show.
was well, I think he was a respected and
Okay.
an admired person.
Yeah.
And the
I
one
was
thing
a
I
regular.
always used to keep hearing is, he's just that guy.
Oh, is
He's
it?
just that guy.
What?
And you know what?
Really?
Being married to him, I can certify he is that guy. So
I'm gonna say this
that was
like
me.
for days to come now.
Yeah. I'm that guy.
That guy.
I'm that guy.
So he hasn't
But
turned up. So
that's
he
kind.
hasn't turned up for a few sessions. So what happens?
He was in. Oh, sorry. When we did meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
The actual day.
What? Come on.
Yeah, my turn. Okay, so I used to help out. I play a few instruments, so I was helping out
Ooh,
with.
humble brag.
No, I was playing guitar. So I guess I was playing guitars, and that's something I helped out with. And I was playing. That sounds so like churchy. Oh gosh.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not even that. Yeah, I'm not even that churchy as a person. I don't feel like I am anyway. But I play a few instruments.
Yeah.
and I play in church anyway. So it's not a bad thing. You're right. It's not at all. But I was playing guitar and to the Lord, and
All right, keep it moving.
I'm being silly. But I was playing guitar, and I remember people walking in, and Anna was one of the people that walked in. I think I first noticed her shoes. I was like, oh, I don't recognize their shoes. And I looked up and I was like, ooh. And I carried on playing guitar.
And this is at the Bible study.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So wait, hang on. What kind of shoes were you wearing that you noticed?
What were they?
So these were like running shoes.
They're just
Actually,
running shoes.
I was gonna say we need to put like some kind of hashtag.
Exactly.
So for the people that are looking out for, certain
good
people,
running
like,
shoes.
Good running
good
shoes,
running
guys.
shoes.
So,
And why did that appeal to you? I'm sorry.
It's not that it appealed. It was just
Different.
someone's
Just
different
caught
in
your
the room. I don't know.
attention.
Yeah.
Oh, because you recognize
Yeah.
typically the type of shoes that are in the Bible study.
Or just like the what people tend to
Yeah,
wear.
yeah,
Jackets and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So, and I think you had like, it was really weird because you had like formal trousers on.
So straight back
and then
from
with
work.
like these Oasis or whatever they're called, like trainers. And I was like, who's that? So I knew someone was new in the room.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So it made me like, who's that? And I look up. I'm like, and then that was the start. So, but we didn't actually talk that night.
Okay.
So after I'd finished.
But on that night, did you both feel anything, or was it just like, oh, this is new, let's move on, see you next time?
I wonder what size figured.
I know the answer a little bit.
You know the answer.
Yeah. Because I think, it's your story, so I'll let you tell.
Yeah, you know this well. Yeah. So I don't know what I'm curious to hear what you have to say, Anna. But
So am I.
I didn't. I noticed you.
Yeah.
To put it that way, I was. It was, and I don't think I remember her making. I remember one thing you said, and I just remember how. What the energy, the vibe that you kind of brought to the room. Like, so she didn't say much. There was lots of conversation going on. She didn't say much, but she was fully engaged, like the whole way through, like genuinely curious.
That sounds like Anna.
To see what people were saying, but didn't say a word. But I did find that attractive. Like immediately, I was like, that you actually care what people think. You know what I mean? And I think for me, that was something within me kind of went, who is this person? Like, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
And then there was one point where you did speak, and you talked about, I think, someone trying to like get your number or something like that, and they made a joke.
This was the non-Bible study segment. We should
man. Bible study can be lit sometimes.
Yeah.
Basically what we're saying. But no, so yeah, and you made a joke about it, and I was like, oh, she's got a sense of humor. Oh, she's actually funny. Anyway, and that was that. Just that's where I left it in my mind. But what was it like for you?
Yeah.
I guess similar in that I'd say I noticed you.
Okay.
I think that's probably as much as it was. I could see that he was, as I say, I'd already built up, without realising it, I'd already built up some sort of an image before I'd met you. You were really friendly, warm, and as I say, well liked amongst the people around you. And I just remember thinking he's a really lovely guy. And that was, but you meet people all the time, don't you?
Right,
but I think that, but it was definitely that. But as much as I say that, I remember telling you this. A few days later, I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about dating, and I was saying, do you know what? I don't know why. For some reason, I just plucked out an example from the air, and I said, do you know what? I met this. I just came across this guy at the Bible study I was at, and I said, I don't even know. Okay, I'm going to go down another topic, which I don't want to do. But I just remember saying, even in a dating context, I referred to him just as actually he was a really lovely guy that I met. Yeah. So clearly, even though I wasn't like dreaming about him. I'd logged him somewhere in my mind.
Yeah. He was. You put a post-it. Just
that's it. Just a little.
Just a mental post-it.
Yeah,
possible.
A strong impression was left. Do you know what I find quite beautiful about that? DJ, as a friend of yours for quite a number of years, you're not you're not an in-your-face person.
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the ability to still make such an impact and an impression, and still be the mellow and calm and human being that's like not trying to I think I'm a bit of I steal the I like to steal the limelight kind of person. I'm sorry, forgive me, Lord. But you're not like that at all.
Okay.
And so it's so beautiful that you still shun so much. But saying that, I speak of you very highly myself. I think we all do, like,
absolutely.
So like, your
Definitely.
reputation will
honestly precedes you.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and actually, when younger women come and say to me, ask me for advice on dating, that's one of the first things I say is, do keep your ear to the ground about what how are people talking about this person. Don't take it as gospel, because obviously there are other things that can influence that, but it's something that I definitely learned early on.
That's interesting.
So how did the first impressions lead to the next steps? Yeah, what was that trigger moment?
What happened next?
What happened?
So I guess for me, it was, again, so when I said I was attracted to how she moved in the room, even though she didn't really say much. And I won't say attracted as in like, oh, I need to get that girl, you know.
Yeah.
But more just
intrigued.
Yeah, and I like that. Also, like intrigued, but I like it. And that was that. So, and then I guess I met you again, I think.
I think we probably met again a week or two after that at the next Bible study.
It's like a game.
And this time, I was with my brother.
Oh, the protector.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I remember walking in. I walked in late, and I had like drinks or something, and I was like, oh, hi, Anna. I remember being like, oh, she's here again.
But when he said that, it was really squeaky.
Oh, really?
So he, by that point, I think actually I'd been marinating in his mind. Yeah.
Why was it so squeaky?
Well, yeah, fair enough.
What brings you to this neighborhood? Yeah.
That's jokes.
They're sweating.
A drink. Yeah, man. And then I think we spoke a bit more that night. And then I remember thinking, okay, she is really cool.
Yeah.
And she is like, then there was definitely a bigger post-it note in my head about Anna at this point.
That's dope.
So was your conversation one-to-one when you say we spoke more?
It was a group.
It was a group.
Okay.
It was a group.
Talking about Spice Girls.
I can't remember. Something like that. Yeah.
We're talking about how like
we should add that this was a social. We don't just sit around talking Bible studies about like guys asking for my number and Spice Girls. But yeah, so we had a bit of a group conversation, and I think from that point onwards it became. We probably both noticed each other a bit more.
Yeah.
So it was now like, oh, when you catch up with your girlfriends, oh, actually, this guy's kind of caught my eye a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you started Facebook stalking me. Is that what happened?
I mean,
wowzers.
But you know what? Damn it. just to be clear as well for the listeners, like we are not. This is not to encourage like actual stalkering behaviour.
But I was successful.
There are exceptions. Yeah.
I'm like, who? No one knows who this girl is.
Yeah, I was quite new actually.
I had no idea, and also I disappeared for you. So I moved out of London for a year.
Okay.
So I met Anna shortly after I'd just come back, and I used to be a part of this Bible study before. And then I've disappeared for so long, and I've come back. Yeah. So I don't know if you've been around for a while and people know you, but I didn't know anyone that knew you. Yeah. A lot of my friends actually, some were still in the church, most of them weren't anymore. So I didn't really get. I sent someone like, okay, who is this woman? Yeah. So
this is all prelude to why he was stalking me. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So
you've laid down your reasons.
I found you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Found you.
Yeah.
It's as if you're making it sound like something from Taken.
No, it sounds like something from You. If you watch You on Netflix.
I know
you have to watch You.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, you have to watch
I think
You.
it is. It's not.
Oh, you haven't watched it?
You.
Okay.
You.
Yeah,
It's called You. Yeah.
Right.
We digress.
Plug.
We do digress. Sorry.
But I just remember. So I found you on Facebook, and I remember again. I just remember like going. Your Facebook was open, so anyone could see it. But I remember just scrolling down, just trying to get a sense of who this person is. And again, I remember even the way you moved online. I remember thinking, this girl is interesting. Like just the way you spoke to people and responded to people's comments.
What?
Wow.
You went that deep?
No, because just on her Facebook wall, on the wall, just scrolling down.
Let's just go
He
through.
really liked you, Anna.
I was like, she's just so polite. It's just like, this girl's like,
You were
polite,
living in
she's
his
making
mind.
Jokes.
Rent free. Just like, chilling.
Just
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, so you didn't just scope straight to the photos? You were just like,
Bro,
I tried.
he needed to get a sense. He needed to get a sense of this person.
Okay. So there weren't many photos, so you had to make do with the actual lingo.
And the photos were nice. By the way, photos were very nice.
What, you'd already met me in person by then? It's not like I was some mystery girl.
But I met you like twice? Yeah. And it was like once every. I didn't know when I was going to see you again. Also, because it's not like you were coming every week to this Bible study as well. So and neither was I. So I wasn't. So anyway, so there was that, and so that plus actually, there's a person behind this who seems really really dope. Yeah. And I was just at this point. I'm like, it'd be cool to get to know this girl more. Yeah. And I think it was at this point I remember saying to myself. And I think I was probably in a bit of a dark place in terms of relationships anyway. But somehow, I remember in my head, I was like, if you and I went out on a date, I remember thinking to myself, we would have a good time. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll have a good time. I think we'll have a good time. I had a sense of that in my belly. So, yeah.
I think it's fair to say we had an instant chemistry.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah.
So
what? How did that chemistry come about? How did you... What was the first moment where did you send her a message on Facebook? Okay. Accepted him as a friend, then exchanged numbers. What was the...
So just quickly as well, I can send... You were already committed to your feelings. I like this girl.
She's working. I'm thinking about this person in my mind now.
Okay.
I want to get to know
He's
more.
just in a queue of registered interest. A person.
Does he breathe?
I was at the top of the queue. Let's just be honest. Yeah.
So prior to me actually having any registering of him, I added you on Facebook.
Yes, you did.
I added.
So you're stalking her, but she added you. I mean, look at this. This is great tactics. Well done, you.
Come on.
Well done, you.
I mean,
that is like wishful prayer. I
don't know. I mean, she did what she had to do.
She made the move.
She made the move.
She made the move.
You know.
I didn't realise this.
Yeah, did you when you added him?
No,
was it like, oh my god?
No, not at all. This is like, when you get your suggested friends, he just came up and I was like, oh yeah, cool, I know that guy. Yeah, fine. Yeah. And then obviously not realising that I was like, opening myself up to the to the lions.
He has a little shrine of you. My queen, come to me.
That's hilarious.
So you've added each other on Facebook.
We've added each other on Facebook, and then we then met again at a coffee social.
Yeah.
And at this
was this
point,
like a single social? Or
no. It was just for 20s.
Okay.
After church service. Yeah. And I think by this point we're now both thinking, I've clocked you in some way. Yeah. And so I was there with some girls. This guy walks through the door, makes a beeline for me as soon as he locks eyes with me. Gets the chair, sits next to me. Is that all fair?
That is, I mean, it's fair, but I was a lot more cool with it than I really
Okay.
But it is fair.
He very coolly made a beeline for me. And I think it was... I love it. And actually, I think that was the turning point.
Okay.
Yeah. So we... sorry, I'm just checking my... So we ended up talking... and again, we were still in a group, but it was one of those moments where, honestly, the place could have been empty because we just immediately gelled. And
just getting all of this nice fuzzy feeling inside.
I think we ended up talking for 3-4 hours.
Oh, wow!
And there were other people there, some of whom may have. Anyway,
wait, hang on. That may have liked. Oh, okay.
Were you an eligible bachelor?
You had fans.
He was an eligible.
He's a fan favorite. Fan favorite.
Yeah, and he.
Apologies.
Exactly.
In a
and
good
them
way.
just watching him build the shrine of me in front of them. So I vaguely remember seeing people sort of staring at us a lot, which happens in certain circles where it's just girls and boys don't talk, and then when they do talk, like, oh, they must be getting married. And so then you went home, and then what happened, DJ, after you went home from that coffee catch up? Actually, did you even get home?
Oh,
I didn't get home.
Where did you go?
What do you mean?
So I was already thinking about. So prior to that, I was already, again, she's in my mind now, and I'm like, okay, you know what? It now reached the point that if I know I'm probably gonna see, I'm not sure when I'm gonna see her again, but when I do, I'm gonna ask for a number.
Yeah.
Depending on how the conversation goes, the conversation went great, and then I was in my car to go home, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. So I dropped that message on Facebook. And I think she was running the 5K at the time. And I'm like, hey, and I was like, hey, I want to support.
I'm trying to keep sweat up in here.
DJ the camp.
Sorry, I hit the camera. I'm saying it's just so funny to me. Sorry, not the footage. But I was like, yeah, let me support. I'd love to see if I can support the
5K run.
The charity, it's a charity run.
Just for cancer and everything. It was important. So I'm like, let me support. But also, it'll be great to get to know you more. You know, and I was like, yeah, can we continue our conversation? And that sounds so sleazy, but honestly, I'm trying to be cool about it.
He didn't do it like that. If he did it like that, we wouldn't be here today.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, it'd be cool to continue the conversation. Can I get your number? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Wow. Anna, what did you? Yeah. So you didn't go home. I assume you went home eventually.
I was on my way home. So
okay. He was on his way home, and he was so desperate to message me. He actually just sat in the car and typed out the message.
Love it.
She didn't take time.
See, I love stuff like this. So you're good. This is great. I love it.
Proper romantic, isn't it?
I love it. I'm like, oh my god, this is so good. Go on.
Yeah.
So what did you got the message straight away, or you playing it cool and like,
no,
I'll message you in 2 days time or something?
The thing is, I think we were both just in life. We were both in a place where we thought, we're not trying to play games. Just we were only, I think we were 25 when we met. But we were just like, just forget all of that. We clearly got on. We clearly had a chemistry. He asked me. And the way you actually messaged it was very much. It was very like.
It was mature.
It was very mature, but it was just like very chilled as well. Just like, it'd be cool to get to know you more. Would it be okay if we exchange numbers? And I was just like, yeah, cool, here it is. And that was.
And you knew at that point, we're going, like, this is going to be something.
I think not like the thing, had no idea it would lead us here. But I think that there was enough for both of us that we just thought there's something.
We'll have a good time.
Yeah.
Were you conscious that he was black? Were you conscious that she was Asian? Like, did that any factor in and part of anything that you were doing? Did it matter?
That's a good point. I'm not sure. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. But for me, I mean, I was aware, and I'm again. So I grew up in East London, so I know that like there are opinions about black people in Asian communities. I was also aware that like even like faith stuff I didn't know. But I mean, so I knew she was Christian already, or I knew that we shared something like faith wise, and she was also like around a range of different people from different backgrounds. So in my mind, it was kind of like. If there was a problem, she would have said so. Yeah. That makes sense.
Or you would have sensed it.
Yeah, and also we get on, like regardless of where you're from, like we get on, and I like spending time with this person, and I want to keep spending time with this person. So that trumped everything else for me.
For you, Anna?
Yeah, but I mean, similar. I think that it's. I mean, it really frustrates me when people say, "Oh, I'm just colorblind. I don't see color." I am a brown woman. So I don't. But I think that when you come across something like a connection that leads to marriage, it just sort of transcends that. I think that if we were both very cultural, potentially that would have got in the way, but it just wasn't. I think we covered this in a previous episode, but both of our predominant cultural identities is Londoners. So it just I don't think it did. I just wasn't even thinking about it. He was just cool, and I'm very cool.
That goes without saying.
And just to say,
go.
I guess and I think we spoke a bit about maybe like the interracial element, but that was later down. But even then, it was like a funny thing. Made jokes about it. But I think generally, like I could also get a sense of her own maturity and just how she was taking to me. That makes sense. And like you said, I think we didn't even have this conversation, but there was a sense of, look, we're two adults, we're enjoying this. Let's see what happens. I think that was a sense, I think, that it probably felt. Even though it wasn't really said at that point, but it was definitely.
So this is just one thing we haven't asked, which I'm quite curious about. What was the timeline between the initial meeting and you guys getting to this point of
numbers?
Yeah, boom. Yeah, I wanna.
Or probably the next thing we're gonna go on to is probably first date.
Probably about 2 months.
2 months.
Okay. Yeah. What? So is that 2 months from
when we first
met Bible study
to
getting your numbers
being exchanged?
Yeah.
Okay. So then what happens then? So you've given each other your number, and what have you decided? When do you meet up next?
We met up very quickly after that. So we met up around this sort of April, May time, so where you've got number of bank holidays.
Yeah.
So that's always, that time we always think of our relationship, because that was when we had our first dates. After work, probably bought my special shoes again, did I? Did I? Oh no, okay, fine. Maybe I stayed in my office shoes. We met up in Stratford. And what's it called? Thai Bazaar.
Went to a Thai place and
and actually it was good. So when we met, we were like, oh, so what should we do? And because we just said we're going to meet in Stratford, and bless him, you'd actually he had a list of 5 things we could eat here.
I mean, I can imagine that. I'm not going to lie. Yes. I can imagine that about
Okay. But actually, but the thing is it's guys, thought. Listen, you know, for any single men who are listening, it was a very cool, like. He didn't come across as overly eager, but he's come prepared. So actually, you feel like you're in good hands. So we could do this, we could do that. There was like a belly dancing class. Not belly dancing, hula hoop class. Sorry, and some restaurant, some pop up thing here, whatever. So we will, So we kind of got off on a really good, you know, the date started off really well. We sat down to eat. Very first question he asks. So what happened in your last relationship?
He just jumped right in.
People don't talk about that for years. First date,
we don't talk about it.
That's true.
I just need to know.
But it's worth saying though. Also, we've met a few times. We've also been on the phone, like between got the number to first date. So we're not strangers.
Yeah, the strong 3-4 hour conversation. Like
we've also got quite a connection as well. That's why. Sorry. Go.
No. I'm just enhancing what you're saying or trying to.
So by that point, I think we already felt like some like kinship to one another. There was something really cool there. And so then we got talking about relationships. Just I can't even remember what else we talked about, to be honest. But just all kinds of stuff. I don't even remember what else we talked about, but
it was a funny conversation, even though we got into exes, but also just we talked about some stuff we've been through. We talked about funny stuff, and we were laughing quite a lot. I remember that as well.
And what activity did you do in the end of the 5 that he chose?
We went to eat.
We went to eat, but we went for a walk as well around. That was one of the options. We could just walk around. Let's try that. And when we ended up like some like dingy canal place in Stratford. I don't know how we ended up there actually.
So for our listeners, at this point anyway, Stratford is a part of Stratford that was kind of previously quite industrial, and there's lots of space that hasn't been built up yet. So, and it was going through a bit of a transformation. So we're walking through this area which is midway through its transformation, and there's just bog water.
It was like from
flies everywhere.
We were like in these really classy shops at one. No, I say classy. Okay, fine. We were in shops at one. Very like just very modern day shops, and then within seconds, it was like we're like in a ditch somewhere.
Because this must have been about 2011, 2012.
No, it's 2015.
Oh, really?
So we're walking. So
it's post-Olympic.
Westfield. So you're thinking, you know where the Olympic Village is?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
like beyond that.
So
before the park, kind of was a park. Go on, sorry.
No. I just would have thought it would have been, to my memory, it would have been more developed by then. But I guess
there were people in like visor vests and all that stuff.
Oh wow,
there was loads of work going on.
So you ended up going to your meal. Did you both leave that thinking, okay, we're something, or we're going to be something?
And that was the next question I was actually going to come to. Like, when did that point where you felt, okay, we want to make something of this, like, official?
He's my boyfriend.
Yes.
She's
Thank
my
you.
girlfriend.
He's my BF.
I'm not sure we left. I'm not sure we left thinking, this is it. But it was more of, you had a good time.
Yeah.
I felt like I had a good time.
But when Sai's asking, when was the point then that you feel that it was so?
Did you go on a few more?
Girlfriends?
All right, so went on. Over that night, we agreed on date number 2.
Yeah,
cool. So we went on that date. Then, when was it? I think it was. There was I think it was around that bank holiday time. We met up again, and I think it was getting to the point where I think I put a lot of pressure on myself. Like, okay, what do I like? This is going somewhere, and I think I sat with it for ages.
And, I can feel this pressure now as you're talking. I feel it
like this, and I think that they arrived the point for me where it was like we can't be friends.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like if this romantic thing we're exploring ended, we can't be friends.
Yeah.
It's either it's all or nothing with this one. Like I knew something was happening here that wasn't like previous relationships or wasn't like this.
There was a tangible difference.
There's a tangible difference, but also like I want to see where this goes, and I'm really into you, and I want to go for it. So I remember that day when I kind of announced.
Is that what you said? Is that what you said? I want to go for this.
Yeah. So just one thing to note here is we have to overlay this.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So we've already said. I mean, it's obvious, but we're both Christians who both met in the church. So what can happen in Christian dating is very quickly you start thinking about marriage.
Yeah.
And so I think that I'm sort of putting words in your mouth a little bit, but I think that DJ was really concerned that when he asked me for a coffee, I thought he was asking for my hand in marriage. So he became very... There was a point in time for a couple of weeks.
I love how you tell stories, Anna. I mean, like, it built up. I was like, where's this going? I love
it. There were a few weeks where he was really in his own head.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when now I'm almost sort of like counselling him because he's just like, but are you okay? But what do you think this is? Everything else. I'm like, mate, I'm in one date with you. I don't like, it was a good date, but it's just like, are you okay though? Are you sure you're okay? I'm like, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. But so that kind of happened in the middle of all of it, to the point that actually I said, I think we should just be friends.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. What was he doing?
It was just he was so much at unease.
Yeah.
He was really almost restless with this thing of, I don't want her to get her hopes up because I'm just dating her right now and whatever.
Oh, okay.
So I just said, cool, let's just be friends.
Oh,
wow. That's
that backfired on you, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Well, you didn't clock. She was more calm than you, mate.
Like I was a bit.
Composed.
It was just bad. She was just enjoying the tea and like.
You're like, I'm just trying to date right now, and she's like, yeah, so am I. So am I.
Are you sure? That was me.
So when she said, let's be friends then, what did you say?
I was like, I was in a mess with that too, because I'm like, I'm not sure I want to do that either, but I'm trying to think. So I was in this mind, like, am I ready to take this further? But she's like, I'm just happy where we are.
Yeah.
But I think previously, in the way she's described dating in certain circles,
there's an expectation.
There's an expectation of like, where's the ring?
Yeah.
Or like, where's the
where's this going?
And I've been in a few situations where it got messy in that way. So that was my baggage, basically showing its face in this interesting kind of way. But
so where did it go then?
So I agreed.
Oh, you agreed to be friends. Oh, okay.
That lasted 4 days.
So he was like, yeah, okay, fine, let's be friends. 3 days later, the phone rings.
Wasn't on the phone. You were in the car.
We were. Do you know what? Out on next Bible study, he was like, I'm going to drop you home, and I was like, okay, fine. Drop me.
There's like 4 people in the car, so he dropped
everyone off one by one. Stops in front of the car. Just stops in front of my house. I've been thinking, and
I love your great storyteller.
Yeah, I just realised. I think I'm ready to commit now. So he's gone from let's be friends. Yeah, to this. Yeah. I'm looking at him thinking, you think I'm going to pitch my stars to this way? You must be on something else. Because the thing is I mean, you guys know me. I'm already someone who's quite. I can be quite guarded in my own way as well. Yeah. So I'm not like you. Basically, he was really fluctuating at that point. And I think that. But one thing, even in that, we had that closeness that I knew it wasn't because he was trying to mess me around. It was because he was so up in his head.
I was really grateful for that. I was worried you were thinking I'm some kind of like, I'm trying to play you or something. But it wasn't. I truly was. Anyway, you knew that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I said, I'll think about it.
Yeah. There was a pause as well. There was a horrible pause.
I'm like, what? I need to go away and pray about this.
Yeah.
I know you said.
She actually said that.
I did.
Oh, wow.
I did. And we can still be friends.
And were you playing it cool, or were you actually genuine? Like, I don't know what this guy's on, so I need to think about it.
Funnily enough, I'm not even sure that I would say that I was actually ready to as in commit to an exclusive relationship, because I wasn't, as I say, I was genuinely quite calm about the whole thing. But but because of what he'd done in terms of just being a bit restless and then, being a little bit of a loose cannon, I genuinely wasn't trying to jump into a relationship just then.
He must have been very conflicted because he's not actually normally like
he's
that.
Not very, so that's not like
you
that.
must have been on some different whirlwind.
Yeah. So for our listeners, DJ's a very, very relaxed, calm, chill back guy. So this was a very sort of out of the norm experience for him. So I said, let me go away and think about it. And
what were you doing? Were you stewing in that time?
I couldn't hack it. I was a mess. I'm like, where you at now? What's going on? What are you thinking?
No, I'm not even joking. Yeah. So what he was like,
How did you not fully put her off?
I don't know. I mean, I tried to mask it. I tried to be like not so.
So what did you do? So while she's like, I'm gonna think about it. What were you doing? I'm trying to work out how because you must have been stewing by this point.
I was stewing, but I mean, I wasn't like, okay, I'm making it sound worse than it was.
I don't think you are. I don't think you are actually. I'm about to anything, you're probably diluting it down.
I think so. In my head, I was with that conversation we had in the car was basically I know I don't want to be friends with this girl. I want to see where this goes. And I'm ready to be committed. And then she paused and said, "I'll think about it / pray about it." Okay, cool. So I'm off now, sitting like, oh, okay, well, this might not work out. And I've got to prepare myself for that. But what if it does? Where is she at? Please tell me. Oh, no. And so
we just continue to keep talking.
Basically.
Okay. And I just said, look, just give me that space, but we can keep talking everything else. And then I think basically every day from that point, you're like, so where are you at now? Where are you at now? Have you thought about it? Have you thought about it?
We debate
at least every other
day.
At least. No, I think it was. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? I mean, just where are you at? Where are you at? So I can't remember how. Maybe it might have been a week or two afterwards, and I was just like, actually, because the thing is, all of this sounds really full on, but actually, you've got to remember this is very much in the backdrop of a really intense connection. Very quickly. That's something we always talk about. Very quickly, we trusted one another. And we really understood each other really well, I think, really, really early on. So
it'll be like 90% of the conversation just vibes and good.
Exactly.
Energy. And then he'll be like, yo, like, but still, like, how you feeling? It wasn't like.
In fact,
hey, how you doing? How you doing?
Exactly. Even that conversation where we're in the car and he's saying he's ready to commit. I remember because we parked up and the music was on, and he was like, music, no music, no music. Turning the stereo on and off, aircon, no aircon. Is it too hot? Is it too cold? And I was just like, but the thing is, it was such a stark contrast to who he actually is. But even at that point, we knew each other well enough that I knew, okay, this guy is just. And actually, it made me realise he's somewhat serious about it. He wouldn't be going through all this conflict if he wasn't if on some level he wasn't sort of serious about it. So anyway, eventually we only a couple of weeks, I think I turned around and I said, yeah, okay, cool, I think I'm ready for us to exclusively date. And rest is history.
So was all of that conflict purely coming from a place of like a desire for the relationship, or was there any external factors that were affecting that?
I think so. I described baggage before, and I think it's maybe previously where I've been in situations where we're dating, we're not sure whether we want to take it further, and they're saying they're fine, but they're not fine, and then it gets really messy and and so I think I built up a picture of like this is just how it goes in dating with the opposite sex, which is not healthy at all. But what it meant is that when Anna was telling me she's fine, I didn't believe her. And so I felt like I need to make a decision now. I need to make it. But honestly, like even without that, I think I would have come to this decision quite naturally, quite quickly. Actually, I think the connection was super strong. It was like the trust again. It was had to explore it. Had to explore that, and developing feelings for her really quickly as well, which is not really like me at all. So it was like, it came to a no-brainer.
When you say that the connection was strong, what do you feel the basis of that connection was? Was it friendship? Was it humor? Was it what was it? Trust. You say trust. Trust is the word that you've used quite a few times. what was it that made each other trustworthy? Was it you shared something vulnerable and you weren't shut down, or like what led to it?
Should I go?
Yeah.
I think the honest answer is our faith.
Okay.
Really, I think that where we had, and I often refer to our relationship as being like a playground, but that is the foundation. Our faith is our foundation. We play by the same rule book. We are very much aligned in our values. So and because of that, we have accountability around us. So for us, I think there's a lot of safety in that. I think the trust. I don't know how to say this without sounding like really, really cheesy, but I think there's some things that you just can't explain. You know, I think the fact is it was just so easy from day one, really easy, that it was. I mean, again, you know, we have a laugh. We do. I think humour is a really important part of our relationship. And we definitely have a very strong friendship and connection in that way as well. We're very, you know, communicating is something that we take really seriously. And we're both really self-aware. We have very similar interests, very different interests. So there's sort of enough like contrast and commonality as well that it kind of keeps us going. Yeah.
And it feels like both complement each other. The commonalities.
As well as the contrast.
Exactly. As well as exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that because the difference is also really clear at points as well, but it fits. And it's I think value is a big one, faith, massive one. I see that kind of like like you said, kind of like a foundation. On top of that though, there was just I think also just I don't know, I think we'd been through different things. We had, but there was also like somehow, I don't know what it is, but there was a maturity about you that like I trusted. I felt like I could very easily trust you with all my stuff. If that makes sense. And we could laugh about them. Like we could laugh about them as well as like, oh, that sucks. Like, we could also laugh about them and vice versa. There was this real sense that we could work through the worst of things and the best of things.
And I think you can see that in your relationship. Like whatever that was 2015 to where we are to 2021, you can see the exact same thing, that 100%. How you started is where you are now in your marriage up until, because you know, we've all been through certain challenges, as have you. But you both kind of like stood firm with that. Even when we see you guys now, like you are a joy to see because you like you just the way that you banter with one another is really funny.
It's true. It's usually Anna at your expense.
It's great fun. It's great fun to watch.
It works for both parties.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. We just get to witness is just that quick wit.
Yeah, honestly, it's super quick. But it's such a nice thing to see. So when you talk about your relationship and all the things that it's visible for anybody to see, that if they spend enough time with you to be like, okay, cool, that this is what it is, because you guys are fun, like, and you seem to have fun together, and you kind of
definitely. Oh, thank you. That's really cool. I think I think the thing for us is we don't always see eye to eye. You know, there are many things that we do conflict on. But the one of the things I say about our relationship, and obviously I say a lot of things about our relationship now that I said it, but one of the things I say about our relationship is we don't always see eye to eye, but we always stand shoulder to shoulder.
Boom.
And I think that's a
bars.
very important.
I don't think I've heard
bars.
You say that before. That's good.
That's bars right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's bars. To hear more, please click subscribe, and share this content. That was
good.
Bars.
That was good.
Oh
that
my
was good.
God.
That was good.
Seriously, I'm sweating from that.
Drop the mic. If you actually got there, just drop the mic.
Jeez. That was that's a wonderful way to put it. And I think everyone, whether in this room or listening or watching, I think that's something.
I hope they've taken something from it.
We were so captivated by that. We didn't even know if you've got more to
sorry, she just blew up the room with that.
Sorry. We all got a little bit flawed.
Wow.
By your wisdom.
Bars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Completely
I
finish
kind
your
of feel like
sentence.
there's nothing else I can say now. But I think that is a really that's something that we always try to maintain. And so even when we conflict, we don't hit below the belt. We're both. I think one of our something that is a key part of our relationship is as I said, we're both very self-aware, very very self-aware. So I am the sort of person when I act out in a certain way, I'll very quickly be like, oh, it's because of this, that, and that. It's got nothing to do with him. We try to be very quick at apologizing as well. And I think that's the thing. Every relationship is different, but I think that for us, as I say, when all is said and done, our foundation is our faith, and I think that's something that even days where we're just not feeling each other at all, we still pray together, we still have that one thing that will bring us back together.
The maturity in this is just beautiful. It's just,
thanks guys.
I was gonna say something but I can't remember now. It's gone. I think one thing that there's particularly when like we're not seeing eye to eye, there's definitely something about like just remembering like no matter what this person is saying or doing right now, they actually have my best interest in heart. And that, like, and I know that of you. Like, I know it. Like, no one can take that. And so, with that, there's like, and even the whole self-aware thing. I think we are both self-aware, very self-aware. And there are times where we're just not. But it's also like sometimes you'll pull me up or I'll pull you up like you're acting weird. Have I done something or what's something going on? And maybe one of us will go away and then come back and like we give each other the space to figure out our own stuff as well. And even when we're not as self-aware as we want to be, and we encourage each other to cultivate that self-awareness because it helps our marriage. And I think that's been there from quite early. I would say. Even maybe before we got married.
I think kind of going back right to the beginning, well, I don't think either of us directly said it, or maybe you did, but we were not in great places as it related to relationships anyway. We were not, very trusting of the opposite sex and everything else. So I think that, I don't know. I think maybe perhaps quite early on, we got quite used to bearing ourselves to each other in that way. So I think that I think we can. I genuinely feel there's not much that we couldn't face together.
I agree.
I think that we're just he's
my partner.
He's a team. He's my team.
My partner. Yeah.
He is the team. Yeah.
Cody. So.
Yeah.
No, it's just beautiful because just hearing it is, I get a sense that you're both willing to lose to ultimately win. Yeah, and I'm not even trying to. She had her own bus there. Today, I don't think I can top that. But it's just that sense of humility that you both. And it sounds very foundational in
very
terms
refreshing,
of like,
I think, as well. Like for us to kind of all hear, and you talk about like how. That you've got each other's best interests at heart, and I think that's what's really important because it means then actually it's not agenda based. Do you know what I mean?
No,
it's what's best for you.
Yeah.
And so whatever that is, even if you don't like it, you still have to accept it to some degree because you understand that the person wants the best for you, and they can see that. They can see something that you can't see. And that takes a lot of trust, a lot of trust actually, because if you, especially like when you were in certain, especially the way that I don't know, the world is now, it's very much about you, and you can do things by yourself, and I couldn't do this all myself, and do you know what I mean? Like, and so when you can find somebody where you don't have to do it all, and actually you can trust somebody to leave a portion of yourself with that person to know that they will look after it and they will do the same for you. Massive. It's an amazing thing because you don't carry the burden all the time with you. You know that it's shared. You know that person's there with you throughout the way, and you just don't feel as heavy as you did.
Totally.
And that's a great thing. That's a great thing, and we've seen that throughout the transition of your relationship, and it's honestly it's a really beautiful thing to see.
And I think we're on the Blasian Circle podcast. Really, I think the nature of the beast that is Blasian, it either tears you apart or it brings you together.
Yeah. 100%.
And I think that really put us through our paces before we got married, and helped us, equipped us for what's coming next. So yeah, that's us.
Oh, that was so good. That was so good.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
Wait,
is there
still
more?
Some more? Yeah, like
okay.
Well, we haven't even spoke about when did you realize? Do you know I love this woman, or do you know I love this guy?
I think we already clocked that from Lady.
No. We've clocked that there is love, and we've clocked that they got together. Yeah, but like, when did you realize? Do you know what? Like, I want to be with this person. We're gonna do this properly. Like, this is it.
It wasn't long.
So. Yeah?
It wasn't long at all.
How Okay, let's.
Few months.
Okay.
Months.
So what?
Like
when? Okay,
so when you're like, okay, cool, I would be more than.
Yeah.
Oh, you would give yourself 2 weeks.
Yeah. Wait. I want to clarify. I want to clarify a few things here. Okay. So the first thing is, it didn't take long to know that you loved one another, or to know this is it. I'm not going anywhere. This is final.
This is it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to us about that.
I think. I mean, a couple months, like, well, this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
But I think it took a bit longer to like, because also like when let's put it this way, I thought to myself, months are going by, we're having a good time, and I remember thinking to myself, how would I feel to propose to her?
Yeah.
And I didn't feel nervous.
Wow. That's good.
And so, and that was new.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Now, initially, then it's a bit scary because it's only been a few months. I was like, you're getting a bit. Come on now, calm down.
Yeah.
There is. I think there's important to allow time to kind of see is that still there.
Yeah.
After time, and it was still there.
Wow.
That's a really good point, actually, because I think that when you know very early on that this is it, the person that you want to marry, that can feel really daunting.
Yeah.
And I think often what people do is they either get scared of it and then they kind of just, and they have a bit of a wobble. But I think oftentimes people then jump straight in.
Yeah.
And I think that particularly in certain circles, we're very quick to get married.
Yeah. Agreed.
And unfortunately, you only have to look at the stats to see we're very quick to get divorced as well,
Agreed.
sadly. So I think that it's important to allow that time to actually get to know one another as well. And we don't want to, we're going to get into it in future episodes, but actually something for us is that very early on, we entered the tunnel of our relationship, as I refer to it, which is dealing with patients very, very early on.
Very early, actually.
So, we were doing all of the stuff that we were talking about, getting to know one another whilst dealing with that. But actually, I think that's always my advice to people as well. It's like, okay, cool. You feel like you this could be it. Just see. Do you feel the same way in a year's time? The only thing you're going to lose is a year to get to know one another. Like, honestly, that's much better than jumping into it and then going, actually, who did I just marry?
Yeah. And not to go into your story, you guys actually did that, or you did something of that nature, isn't it?
What's
that? Once you sort of were starting to like tell your parents and sort of things, you took a bit of a step back in a sense, but not necessarily to, well, you can explain your story better than I can, and obviously I don't want us to go too far in, so spoil it for the future, but I do know that you guys took like a sort of,
well, I think that was less to do with us and more to do with dealing with family. And I think and we'll get into that, but absolutely I think there have to be displays of cooperation and maturity when you're dealing with external forces as well.
But I think that's what's very interesting is that very early on, I know that you had gone through the tunnel bit of your relationship, and I'm not gonna lie, like there was very early on, and I know I know like that could have broken many people.
100%.
Like there is zero doubt about it, because that level of pressure, both for you, definitely, where you're just like,
what is this?
I'm checking it. No, that's okay, thanks. And for you, it's like, for what? Like, do you know what I mean? And you would constantly, because when you go through that process, you definitely question, like, is it worth it? Because it's so stressful. And the fact that you went through it very early on, did that kind of make you feel even more sure, because you could withstand that?
Absolutely. And I think that when a situation comes, when you've made something up in your mind to go, I think this is what I want, and then someone goes, okay, cool, so you're going to lose everything for this one thing, do you still want it? And I think there's nothing to affirm your decision more than that sort of a scenario. And I think a lot of it, and for all three couples here, we all went through that to some degree, or in some variation. Exactly. Thanks, Sam. And so that's really important, I think that's only weirdly, and it feels so strange saying it, but it's only enriched our relathere's to that end.
But that's amazing that has happened. That's such a traumatic time. It has enriched, there's something good that's come from it. There's something, and as much as it will, and I'm sure we'll go into it, but it's
no doubt. But there's like, ultimately, imagine when someone who's looking for a life partner, you want to know, are they going to ride for me?
I think very true.
Come rain or shine. And we have been through tests like that show that the person on my, the person next to me is willing to ride for me. And they've done it. Excuse the slang, but like, are they willing to? Are they gonna stand with me? Come rain, come shine, and like, that does that boosts confidence in what in what you have. And I think all of us have that, and I can testify to that. So,
you want more questions, but I think we've got to wrap it up.
Sorry, guys.
We got to wrap it up.
And actually, there's much more. Obviously,
there is.
If you like the content today, guys,
how could you not?
This is really insightful. And if you want to see more content, please click the bell, subscribe, and get our notifications and share.
And definitely,
please join our Blasian circle, and let's expand this circle.
And definitely listen to us on the actual podcast as well, on the streaming platforms, Spotify. I'm not sure if we're on Tidal, but Apple Music, Amazon.
We will find our way to all of these platforms. Don't you worry.
Definitely that.
Just Google it. You'll find us.
Thank you. That's it for today.
For sharing.
But we will
greatly appreciate you guys for sharing. Thank you.
No worries, guys.